chimney breast, final chimney breast, final chimney breast.
Is it time for vinyl chimney breast?
Yes, it's week 13. Meet plus size singles in your area. After last week's look at 7-inch singles, this week we moved to their full-size 12-inch cousins. 12-inch singles, starting with Iron Maiden The Clairvoyant. This was really a commemorative disc recording from their appearance at the 1988 Donington Monsters of Rock. Quite a nice gatefold issue with lots of pictures from the event. They'd long been expected to headline this and finally did this year. And this has 3 live tracks which are very good, very much let the listener feel like they're actually there, which isn't always the case with live recordings, and especially not with live recordings from the BBC, which was the source of these. Judas Priest Painkiller, this was the single release from 1990, very much seen as a return to form for the band. They had a new drummer in Scott Travis, who'd previously been with the band Racer X. Very exciting, powerful drummer, and he certainly featured on this track with the drum intro to the track, which has become somewhat legendary since then and is now a featured part of their live shows. 3 tracks on this one. Lenny Kravitz, I Build This Garden For Us. This was the second single from his Let Love Rule album, his debut album in 1989. This was actually released early in 1990, this single. I really enjoyed that album, kind of very organic feeling, hippie-ish kind of album, and after that things got a bit more sophisticated and glitzy, and I didn't really bother with him after that. This has 2 other tracks from the same album. Megadeth Hangar 18 from 1990. Along with lots of other bands at the time, they were releasing product on multiple formats, particularly when it came to singles. It just helped to sell more and get higher chart placings, I guess. So this is, it says here, the limited edition 12-inch gatefold of this. I had this one signed by the band, and it does include free life-size Vic Rattlehead mask. So if you ever wondered what size he was in real life, it's that size. I've never actually cut that out, as you can see. I did consider it in recent years, but I didn't think it was really suitable face covering for wearing around Morrison's. Father Abraham and the Smurfs, Father Abraham in Smurfland from 1978. There were no 12-inch singles released from this. I did talk about the single releases from this last week, and in fact the only 12-inch single I'm aware of from the Smurfs was Smurfy Girl from 1998, which was purely released, as far as I can tell, as a DJ promo disc, and it can't even be found on YouTube, which is obviously a great loss to music lovers everywhere. Metallica Whiplash, this is their EP from 1983. This was actually the first single from their debut album, and this being the previously unreleased, it says here, Neck Brace remix, appropriately enough for a song called Whiplash. 4 tracks on here. Strangely, it starts with, not with the title track, but with Jump in the Fire, although I've always thought that this is one of their poppiest and, if you like, most radio-friendly and commercial tracks, even though conventional wisdom is that they didn't go in that direction until several years later. But that's a great track. And these 2, it says, live tracks here, famously were actually studio recordings or rehearsal recordings maybe, with crowd noise added on. Gary Moore, Over the Hills and Far Away, this is from 1986. This is actually one of my favourite pieces of vinyl. It's a really good EP. Gary was known at this time, as I previously mentioned, similarly to other acts, for doing various 12-inch mixes and extended versions and so on his single releases, and there would often be different guitar solos, different intros, different mixes generally and arrangements. So these were always really good value for money, because you got stuff that you couldn't hear on the standard releases. There's an unreleased track on this. There's a really great live version of All Messed Up from the Milton Keynes Garden Party gig, headlined by Marillion with Jethro Tull as special guests, and Gary was on that one. And it's a really nice package. This was the first single from Mr. Big's Lean Into It album in 1991. Seemingly, at this stage, perhaps they weren't quite sure what to call the song, as on the album version the parentheses is around the drill song, although it's called the electric drill song rather than this Daddy Brother Love a Little Boy. But this was just a fast-paced, exciting rock song, one of the standout features of which was the fact that Paul Gilbert and Billy Sheehan played their instruments with cordless electric drills, using dowel rods with guitar picks screwed to the end, as you do. Slayer, Criminally Insane, 12-inch remix. Probably not the kind of band you would associate with having 12-inch remixes, but they perhaps felt that the original wasn't either criminal enough or insane enough. And there are 2 other tracks on this. Really all they did was add some sort of ghoulish, otherworldly noises to the beginning of the Criminally Insane track, which strangely feature on another track on the album from which this is taken. And there's a bit more reverb and some of the lead guitar is different, I think. Anyway, this was... I always think thrash metal's really good for a Sunday morning, so I would sometimes use this to wake up my housemates when I was at university. Thanks for watching Vinyl Chimney Breast. All the music you can hear in the background is by See Through Head. You can find out more in the links under the description. Please click on everything, and I'll see you next week.